So the first thing you have to do is you're going to have to put these in standard form. Then you're going to have to give leading coefficient, describe the type of polynomial you'll have based on the terms that you have, and then you also have to give me the degree. After that, every single answer needs to be in standard form. All right, that is going to be an understood instruction on the rest of the test. That if you are giving me an answer that is a polynomial, it needs to be in standard form. All right, so for this one, it's not in standard form because we're looking highest to lowest exponent. So we would rearrange this. We would write the 6b squared, then we would write the 5b, then we would write the 4. That is standard form. My leading coefficient, once it's in standard form, is just going to be the number that is up in front. And so that's going to be a 6. The type of polynomial, well, this has 3 terms, which means this one has a special name. This is a trinomial. All right, so remember 1 term is monomial, 2 terms binomial, 3 terms trinomial. After that, you just say 4-term polynomial, 5-term polynomial. Only the ones that are 1, 2, or 3 have special names. And then the last thing it asked for was the degree. The degree for this one is the highest exponent group. In this case, being the first group, so it should be a degree of 2. The next thing we did is addition and subtraction. Now on your quiz, I have it separate, on your test review, I have it separated by addition, then a group of subtraction, and then a mixture of them. On your test, you're just gonna have a mixture. It's gonna be addition or subtraction kind of thrown in there, all right? You are just combining like terms. That's all you're doing for these. So you're gonna say x to the 4th plus, and we're gonna look over here in this group, there is an x to the 4th, all right? And then we are going to say 8x plus, oh, there's one that combines with it, negative 8x. And then we're going to say 6x cubed plus, and we have a negative 5x cubed. You'll notice I underline them because there could be times when it doesn't have anything that corresponds and you still need to account for it. So if it cannot combine with anything, it just stays the way it is. All right? All right, so we are going to combine those. We have 1x to the 4th and 1x to the 4th. We have 2x to the 4th. We have a positive 8 and a negative 8, which actually gives us a 0x, but you don't even write that. If it's 0x, it just zeroes out and it's gone. And then we have a 6x cubed and a negative 5x cubed. That gives us a 1x cubed. And once I've combined everything and made sure it is in standard form, highest to lowest degree, then I am finished. All right, so for subtraction, I would actually recommend changing it to addition and then changing every sign in this second group. So change that from a positive 3 to a negative 3, from a minus 2x to a plus 2x, and from a minus 6x to a plus 6x. All right, so I would recommend adding the opposite across there. And then you can combine your like terms. So I have a 6x cubed, and now I have changed it to plus. So plus, and this is a 6x cubed. And then I have a negative 3 plus a negative 3. And then I have a negative 8x. All right, and can that combine with anything? No, it cannot. And then I have not finished everything because this also has not been accounted for. That's plus a positive 2x to the 4th. And so you want to make sure that you have accounted for everything when you do this, all right? And then I'm going to do standard form. Now I usually will just start here and do standard form. So I'm going to look across the board and say which group has the highest exponent. That's this one. All right. So I'm just going to say 2x to the 4th there. Then the next one is going to be this 6x cubed, and 6x cubed is 12x cubed. Then I have a negative 8x, and then negative 3 plus negative 3 is negative 6. So we have normal foiling, which is not any special case. We're just going to do first, outer, inner, last here. All right, so we're going to say 2v times 7v plus 2v times -7 plus inner terms 5 times 7v. And then, of course, my last terms, 5 times -7. And then we're just going to simplify these. 7v times 7v gives us 7v squared. I don't know. That's a 2. That's 2. Because that's the last block on a Friday for me. There we go. 14. Is that better? There we go. I wrote them all, the rest of them, I think, right? Didn't I? 5 times 7, 5 times 7. There we go. 2v times -7 is -14v. 5 times 7v is 35v. And 5 times -7 is -35. All right, am I done? Why not? Yeah, so this cannot combine with anything. -14 and +35 give me what? Yeah, so 21v, and that cannot combine with anything. So we have 35. With variables like these, and then you have special cases with numbers like these, all right? So special cases are when it's the same two terms, plus minus, or when it's something squared. Something squared. So when it is the same two terms, you can just take the first term and square it, and take the second term, it's always going to be subtraction, and square it, all right? That's how it's going to work out when it's plus minus. You will not have a middle term, all right, when it is plus minus. And I'll show you what happens. I mean, you basically have 4m times 4m. 4m times -6. +6 times 4m. And then +6 times -6. All right. So, because what happens is this becomes -24 and +24m. And so they cancel. And so you end up with just 4m times 4m, which is 4m squared, and +6 times -6, which is going to be a -6 squared. That's why that works when it's plus minus. You do not have a middle term when it's plus minus. All right. And of course, simplify it. 4m, if I square it, is going to be 16m squared, minus 6 if I square it is going to be 36. And so that's going to be my answer. All right. This is identical to this one down here. All right. It's identical to that one. Why? Well, these are both 4 away from 50, correct? So I can write this as 50 plus 4 and 50 minus 4. Do you see how that's the same as what I just did? It's plus minus of the same exact problem, all right? And so I can just say the first one squared minus the second one squared, all right? Now, if you square something like 50, just take the 5 and square it, 25. And then because you're squaring it, you're going to have 2 zeros. That's how it works when you square a number with a 0 at the end. Just square the first part, and then you're going to have extra zeros, okay? Minus 4 squared, everybody knows that is 16. And then if I subtract that out, I'm going to get what? 24, 84, hopefully. All right, the other special case is when you're squaring the same thing. Now, this is a little bit harder to remember. I will give you that. All right, but what you do with this one is you take the first one, and that is squared, and you also take the last one, and that is squared. But this guy has a middle term, okay? The middle term is what happens when you take 2 times each of those terms, 4x and positive 6. All right? That's what the middle term will end up being, because it ends up being the same thing, but then you do it twice. Okay? Now, once again, this is the same thing that as if you had done 4x plus 6, 4x plus 6, and done your foiling. Okay? So if you want to, you can FOIL it, all right? And on the special cases for numbers, as long as you write it out correctly, you may FOIL it if you want to, all right? But when you FOIL it, you're gonna get 4x times 4x, which is 4x squared. You're gonna get 4x times 6 and 4x times 6, which is 2 of your 4x times 6's. And then you're gonna get 6 times 6, which is 6 squared, okay? So you will get the same thing if you choose to FOIL it. All I make you do is set up the special case. Set up the special case. All right? And then solving it. 4x, if I square it, is 16x squared. All right? 2 times 4, that's 8 times 6. That's going to give me 48x. And then 6, when I square it, is 36. All right? This is the same thing as this special case, because this is 60 plus 1 squared, right? Again, you could write it out, 60 plus 1, 60 plus 1, but as long as you see that that is a special case. So I can do the same thing. I can take 60 and I can square it. Then 2 times what happens when I do 60 times 1, 60 times 1, plus 1 squared. That's going to be my answer here. When I square this guy, remember, square the 6. What is 6 squared? It's 36, and I'm going to have 2 zeros after that because I squared it, 0, 0. 2 times 60 times 1, that's 120, right? Plus 1. So I'm going to get 3,721 as my answer there.